Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Play Easy Warm-Up podcast, where we dive into the stories of the people shaping the world of sports tourism and events. I'm your host, Carrie Shields, and today we're talking power, strength, and competition with a leader in the world of powerlifting. I'm thrilled to be joined by Heather Foss, the National Meet Director for USA Powerlifting. Heather plays a pivotal role in organizing and executing some of the biggest powerlifting events in the country, ensuring lifters have a top-tier competitive experience. In this episode, we dive into the evolution of USA Powerlifting, what it takes to run a state, regional, and national level event, and how the sport is growing across the country and beyond. Plus, Heather shares insights on how communities and venues can better support the sport. I loved this conversation with Heather. Anytime I have the opportunity to connect and talk to someone who is clearly passionate about not only what they're doing, but just the opportunity to make their sport more accessible is always so much fun for me. Powerlifting is not something I knew much about before this conversation, outside of, being in the weight room as an athlete, as a former basketball and soccer player growing up. But I was reminded of just how much fun it is to be around community and team, and being around people who are trying to meet their goals. Powerlifting is so unique in that, and Heather talks about this, but there are kids as young as 8 years old and women as old as 80, 90 years old who are competing in some of their events, and just the power that sports have. I am continuously reminded through these episodes just how powerful sports are. And I really enjoyed this conversation with Heather, and I hope you do as well. Get ready to call dibs. Utah's newest sports megaplex, Western Sports Park, opens spring 2025 in Davis County, Utah's amusement capital. Less than 30 minutes from Salt Lake City, this venue is built to be a game day contender. With 55 acres of multi-purpose fields, top-tier facilities, and amenities for teams, fans, and families alike. Choose from WSP's multiple indoor arenas, 6 full-sized fields, or the stunning championship field, complete with seating for 2,000 and breathtaking mountain views. What truly makes Western Sports Park a winner are the next level extras. From private flex spaces, a referee lounge, on-site concessions to sensory rooms, and free parking, your team is covered on and off the field. If you're looking for ways to play beyond game day, it's easy. WSP is the newest addition, conveniently located next to Station Park, Davis County's popular entertainment district. Family-friendly restaurants, attractions, and hotels are just steps away. And Utah's only amusement park, Lagoon Park, is only a mile down the road. Give your MVPs the VIP treatment at Western Sports Park. Book now at westernsportspark.com. Hi, and welcome back to the Play Easy Warm-Up podcast. I am very excited to have Heather Foss with us today. Heather, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. So to get us started, can you share a bit about your journey and how you became the National Meet Director of USA Powerlifting?
Sure. So I've been involved with USA Powerlifting for going on 12 years. I was just a tired mama who wanted some goals of my own and got into the gym, was doing some bodybuilding routine, and the community of that gym just kind of started to pour into me, and we're like, hey, we need some women on our powerlifting team. Had never heard of powerlifting in my life. Told my husband, and he was like, oh, we're doing this. So I trained for a couple months in powerlifting, basically off of what I could find, something free off the internet, and did a meet and set like a deadlift record and was immediately hooked. And the more I plugged in with powerlifting, the more the community just kept wrapping around me as a mom and a woman. And it just became so empowering for me. And that's something that I wanted to be around all the time. So we just kept plugging in more and more. And my husband and I became the state chairs for USA Powerlifting for South Carolina. So we're helping to ensure that the sport was growing here within our state. And roll that into many, many, many more years. I became the women's committee chair for USA Powerlifting, so helping building the community of empowering women within our sport to step on the platform and to embrace this strength that we have, and bring your friends along with you. And it's just so fun. I wanted to kind of help even higher. And so I'm on the executive committee for USA Powerlifting as well. And we just had a need to run our national level meets when we had some change in leadership. And because I'd been running meets for so long here in South Carolina, it was something that I kind of just naturally agreed to help do. And it's something I really love. I get to hang out with the athletes on a national level and encourage them to go even farther, and be all the bits and pieces, and put all those bits and pieces together that helps these athletes on one of the biggest stages that they get to perform on in their careers. And so here I am.
I love it. This conversation brought me back to give you a little bit of my background. I was a former college basketball player, and so we spent a lot of time in the weight room when I was training. And so it brought me back to the community of just being around my team when we would have max out days,
Yeah.
which is why I haven't thought about it in so long. But it is the excitement that went around, someone going for a max bench or a max squat, was so fun. It was not fun at the time being on the bench for me, but it was just the excitement around being happy for your team and the community. That was around the weight room, was really cool. And so to hear you as a mom, finding this later in life and something that really brings community is really cool to hear.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know much about USA powerlifting or powerlifting in general, could you describe kind of the landscape of what it is?
Sure. So powerlifting is your big three lifts. So it's your squat, your bench, and your deadlift. Sometimes it's confused with weightlifting or Olympic lifting. Those are the snatch and the clean and jerk. Sometimes we're confused with CrossFit, but if you see a powerlifter running, you should probably be running too. We're not interested in a ton of cardio. But the goal at the end of the day is to see how much you can lift in those three big lifts. So a competition is going to be consisting of, you get 3 squat attempts, then 3 bench attempts, and then 3 deadlifts attempts. At the end, we take your total, and that tells you more or less how strong you are for the day. And a lot of our competitions are even going a step further now, and we're going to have best lifters at the meet. We have this really cool coefficient that we take your body weight and the amount that you lifted total. We put it in this wild formula, and then it basically tells us pound for pound who is the strongest lifter of the day. So not only can we compare weight classes together, we can actually lump in everybody. We can even throw age in there too. So now at a lot of our pro competitions or our masters competitions, we're going to throw age in there. So I could be, as a 40-year-old female, competing against somebody in their 70s and 80s, and it's going to tell us who's the strongest lifter. And what's really wild is it's hard to beat those women. It's crazy to see how strong these athletes are, even in their older age, and it's really cool to see these folks coming out and competing with us. So
that's incredible. And so you said some competitors are up to 70, 80 years old. What are the age ranges for your competitions?
We start letting lifters compete at the age of 8. So we have youth divisions. They're every 2 years they'll advance to the next youth division. Then we have our teen divisions. We'll have juniors who are roughly your college age students. Our open class is kind of like those middle age ranges, so your 20s, 30s. When you hit 40s, we go basically by 10-year increments. So a Masters 1 is going to be 40 to 49, Masters 2, 50 to 59, and we go all the way up. So we have people in their 90s in other countries. I'm not sure here in the U.S., but I know other countries we have 100-year-old lifters, and they're doing awesome. So they're still coming out and competing. It's wonderful.
That's incredible. And powerlifting is unique in that it comes with athletes of all levels and ages. How does USA Powerlifting support first time competitors as elite lifters?
Oh, it's so cool. You'd be hard pressed to find a state now that doesn't have a rookie level meet. So a lot of times we're having these meets that will come out and they're specifically dedicated to first and maybe second time lifters, where we may have a special session either the day before the meet or in the morning of the meet, where we heavily go over all the rules that there are in USA Powerlifting and spend some extra time going over the rules. Some of the rookie meets will have partners. So we'll bring in some extra people to hang out with you on meet day and help you navigate all the different timelines that we have, help you with your warm-up attempts if you have questions, maybe even actual attempt selection on the platform. Make sure that where you need to be when you need to be there. So that's really cool. And that for, at the rookie level, you don't have to have any total to step on most of the platforms. So you can come in being a brand new lifter, and as long as you have some familiarity to the rules, you can have a pretty successful day. So we're open to anybody.
That's awesome. And so USA Powerlifting has seen a tremendous growth over the past few years. What do you think has continued to this surge in popularity?
I think just the ease of it. It doesn't have to be an expensive sport. All you really need are a pair of shoes, a t-shirt, a singlet that you can get from Amazon for like $15. And really that's it. Knee-high socks, which you can go to Walmart and buy for a few bucks. And then you just pay your meet entry for them. So really we don't require a lot as far as like your equipment is concerned. So the barrier of entry is really low. And most of the movements are pretty natural. If you think a lot of us are squatting to get up off a couch, right? Or to sit back down on a couch or sit on the toilet. We're just adding a barbell to that. Bench press is a little different. There's not much times that you're laying down trying to push something overhead, but a deadlift, most of us are picking up groceries off the floor and things like that. So they're fairly natural movements that aren't hard to learn. And you can train them anywhere. So you could walk into most gyms and you could have a squat rack, a bench press, and a deadlift platform. You can even train these movements in even hotel gyms and a lot of your apartment gyms now. So it's pretty easy to have access to this equipment and be able to train.
That's awesome. And that brings me into my next question is, what do you look for out of a host event? And I think just to give some context, USA Powerlifting hosts regional, state, and national events.
Yes.
Yes. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so what do you look for out of a host for your events? And is there any different on the national scale?
Sure. So on your local level, you're typically looking for your normal gyms, could be your mom and pop type barbell gym, grunge gym. We really love having meets in those gyms. Some states use CrossFit boxes because they're nice and open. They have a lot of rig space, so you can kind of have a slightly larger meet maybe at those facilities. And so it's pretty easy to find a venue. When you go to the next level, maybe your state championships, maybe looking for something like a hotel ballroom. Your regional level meets are definitely going to be looking for hotel ballrooms. Some are big enough to go into like a smaller convention center type space. And then at the national level, we're looking for very large hotel ballrooms, or definitely that convention space that's 30 to 50,000 square foot.
And what are you looking for? I know right now you have open RFPs for 2026 and 2027 championships. Yeah. What are you looking for out of a host partnership?
Sure. So of course, space, you're 30 to 50,000 square foot because we have 12 to 1,500 lifters, depending on the event for the national level events. It's a very large space. We need a dock to be able to pull our tractor trailer up to. We're looking for food and beverage. So we're going to need to feed our referees and our volunteers. Plus, we don't want people to leave the venue while the competition's going on. So we want really cool options for the athletes and their friends to be able to go eat and then come in and watch the entire time. Great hotels. If the hotels are attached, that's fantastic. Or across the street within walking distance, so people aren't having to Uber if they don't have to. So that's really important. Other things are we need 5 to 7 breakout rooms to facilitate the entire event because we need space for rack heights, equipment check-in, all those things, a little quiet space for our referee. All those things kind of help our event itself. And then what else we're looking for outside of the actual event space is going to be where can our community come and have a vacation? Where if we're not lifting, some of us want to go hiking or some of us want to go sightseeing, or if our family's coming, we want to have a little mini vacation while they're there. And what are things that maybe kids could do, or if our grandparents come, that they would love and enjoy? So maybe some, museums or things of that nature. So that's really what we're looking for there.
Awesome. And could you give an example of a past partnership with a destination that you thought was extremely successful and why?
Sure. So a few years ago, we ran high school nationals here at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It was awesome because our high school athletes could literally walk across the street. They came as teams mostly. Their families would come too, but they could safely walk across the street to a mall type setting. And then 1 block over was the beach. Some of these kids, we did it in March. So some of them, their actual homes in the north or in West Coast were like under feet and feet of snow. So for them to come to South Carolina and get to enjoy the beach, some of them maybe never having seen a beach before, and having a safe environment to go hang out with their school friends and their families was a huge win for us. The venue itself was very spacious, although there were other events going on. Actually, some of those event people came in to watch our event, and that was a lot of fun. Some of us were walking around telling people about the sport of powerlifting and getting to share that with folks who had never seen anything like it before. And they were just so accepting, and the venue space itself was really great.
That's awesome. And how do you look to expand your sport into new areas? So whether that be in different parts of the country or just from the grassroots level?
Sure. So I've had a really great experience with Plazy itself. It was kind of new to us in when I posted our RFPs. In the next couple of days, it was like 463 destinations, maybe interest or fit what you're looking for. Like, holy cow, which is super exciting because, you can only, visit Myrtle Beach so many times. I love it. It's a fun place. But after a while, you're like, hey, I want to go try something else, or we want to service a different part of the country that we need to expand into. So let's go to this new state who is maybe a grassroots state for us. Maybe it's only has 1 meet a year. Well, let's bring some more people there, have a national event, and try to expose more people to powerlifting so that we can keep growing that state. It's really exciting to us. Plus, I have some people coming I just talked to not too long ago, and I'm like, do you have an airplane hangar? Do you have a train station that's shut down but still functioning as something else? Like, I want to be able to bring our events to some really cool spaces that maybe aren't conventional spaces for us. Like, let's just have some fun. So that would like change up our event a little bit and make it exciting to come see. So it's been really neat to really be able to connect with some different cities and states who haven't had anything like us before, who also need to grow their city for whatever reason. I just met with somebody the other day who says, hey, we have this great list of vendors. We would love for them to come and have booths at your event because it's going to help them grow their businesses and plug into our economy. And they have a lot of our culture built into their vendor booths. And I'm like, how fun is that to be able to then allow our patrons to learn some different culture within this city? So it's been a very, very cool experience creating this platonic relationship with a lot of new states that I don't think USA Powerlifting has taken nationally before. And then on the flip side of that is, although I'm looking for big venues, I have some smaller venue locations reaching out to me, and I've been able to connect them for local meets. So some of our state chairs, I've been able to plug them in so that they now have access to a completely different part of their state that they haven't been able to reach yet. They haven't been able to find a good location. And then I just had someone the other day who was interested in hosting a regional event. And so we have bids open for regionals now as well. And so I was able to plug them in with the state chair to put in a bid for a regional event. So we're having loads of success with Plazy and connecting with so many different people that are really helping our organization plug in better to states.
I love that. And I did not pay you to say that, but it is really the reason why we built the platform. But it is exactly the reason that we built the platform that we did, and what we hope people get out of it is just that connection point. So when it comes to hosting one of your events, is your organization providing the equipment? Is that something that a host would have to provide? How do you go about that?
So at the state level, we are typically looking to partner with a gym who probably already has some equipment set up that we can use. And they may have enough equipment for the entire competition. Here in South Carolina, I own a trailer that has equipment on it. So a lot of times I will find a gym that has enough equipment for like the warm-up space, and I will bring the competition platform. There are some gyms, like if I was to have a meet here at my gym, I actually have everything I need to run a competition here, from warm-up to the actual competition platform. So there are some gyms that we get lucky enough to find that can handle that kind of stuff as well. At the regional and national level, regionals, again, we're looking for typically your ballroom type space. So we're having to bring in all of the equipment for that. And the same is the concept for the national level meets. We actually own what we're calling a meet in a box. So we have a tractor trailer that travels with us from place to place, and we bring all of the equipment. So it could be 12 warm-up stations in the warm-up room, and then 4 to 5 platform competition spaces.
That's great. So I know you guys are based out of Alaska, which is cool. I think you are the only governing body that is based out of Alaska. Is that true?
Maybe true.
Yeah, maybe true. But you are based out of South Carolina. What part of the country is powerlifting big right now? Are there any specific places that you're looking to expand into, or is it something that you just want to expand kind of competition overall?
Yeah, we want to be everywhere, in all places, in all the nooks and crannies is where we would love to be. The Southeast is pretty heavy, but we have a lot of square footage in our states. We're all spread out. But places like New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, those places have so many people in them, and population-wise, they're exploding there. I would say maybe the central U.S. is a little bit more sparse. Some of our maybe Western countries, Western states, may be not as popular for powerlifting yet. And then we have some states that there is no powerlifting that we, at least not USA powerlifting, that we're aware of, or we're missing state chairs and things like that. So we're always looking to improve, and people don't stay with the sport forever. So a lot of times we're having some turnover, and we're having to fulfill those positions again. And that's not atypical in, I think, every sport. So yeah, we're willing to go anywhere and keep expanding.
Awesome. And do you have a partnership with the collegiate level, or is it something like with colleges, with the NCAA, or how does that work?
Yeah, so there are a couple colleges in the U.S. that do offer like a powerlifting scholarship. There aren't many. Okay. There are a few powerhouse colleges out there, Midland University being one of them that I can think of right off the top of my head, where they actually give scholarships to athletes to come and compete. And they're a huge team. They travel, and they have an athlete or two in every single division that we offer at collegiate nationals, and that's really cool. And then there's some places that, they have maybe clubs at their universities or colleges, and sometimes those clubs can grow very large. I would say it's difficult at the collegiate level because, athletes are only there for a short period of time. So it's hard to get really established long term. But I think we're starting to see that grow a little bit more, where people would continue to mentor the new people taking over and can try to expand upon that. The other aspect is that, let's just be frank, college students don't have a lot of money. Gyms aren't cheap, especially if you're looking for a powerlifting gym. It's not going to be your cheapest gym to go to. And then to get your college really bought in to maybe getting a competition combo rack at your facility, or the proper bars, or maybe the proper plates that we would like to train on. Getting them to get some money over to you as like a club sport tends to be really tough. So there's some nuances about that. But what I love is that we have a collegiate committee and some really passionate people on that committee. So if you are going to a college, and whether you're starting a club or wanting to expand your club and maybe make it an official sport at your school, we have a group of people who've been in this sport for a long time who will help you write things to write to your college and follow the processes most colleges require for you to grow that sport at your college. So that's something we can always help schools with too.
Yeah, and that's interesting. So your organization not only is responsible for running these events, but what other resources and educational services do you give as an organization to help grow the sport?
Absolutely. We have a coaching course where we can teach you how to be a coach of a powerlifter, or powerlifters, plural, whichever you want.
Yeah.
Or if you just want to learn how to be a better lifter, our coaching course could be helpful for you. Another aspect of that is it allows you to coach on a higher level. So we are an international group now. So we have something called the IDFPA, where we're sending world teams out now. And so you may want to coach a world team, and our coaching course can help you with that. We also have an app where it's a training app, where if you don't know where to start or where to look, we can help you with programming. And so you have an app that can be utilized to help you with the programming. We have a ton of committees that people could look into. So whether it's a woman who's wanting to be empowered, we have a high school committee, we have a youth committee. So we allow 8-year-olds to start, and you're like, well, how do I do that safely? And my pediatrician said it's not okay. We can bring those resources to you and help you feel comfortable with that and help guide you. Or help parents even who are like, my kid, I think, wants to join a gym. Is this sport okay for them? How can that be helpful in the other sports that they play? So I love to see youth who are kind of these dual sport athletes, because they're not getting burned out on a single sport, and they love to show how they can have muscles and things. So that's really fun. We have a masters committee. So if you're interested in being a masters lifter, how can we help you find a platform that's going to make you feel comfortable and welcome and what's safe for you? International committees. Let's see what else we have. Your high school, your collegiates, all these different committees where we can help you feel empowered and comfortable with what our sport really entails. Find meets near you. We have state chairs in most of our states. So how can we help you find a meet local to you? I think that's it.
that is a lot. That is a lot to hear. And so if someone were interested in getting involved or accessing those resources, how would they go about doing so?
So you can always get on it. We have social media, Facebook, Instagram. Our website is really great. You can bring all the drop-down boxes and see the different committees that we have. And if you can always email one of the committee chairs. All of our email addresses are there. Or simply just, if you don't see what information you're looking for, we have a contact us box, but you can always just email info@usapowerlifting.com, and we will connect somebody with you.
That's great. And can you share a memorable moment or success story from an event that you've run?
Sure. So I run a ladies only event here in South Carolina, Ladies of Steel. What I really love about our ladies event is we do them all. There are multiple across. We had last year 23 ladies only events, and they were all on the same day. And so we had these 23 events spread across the country, and we were all competing on the same day. So it was this really cool empowerment opportunity. But at my particular event, we had a 9-year-old who is also an MMA fighter. She's awesome. She is snarky and has a lot of spunk to her, and I loved it. But then we also had an 80-year-old competing. And at the end, they had both won their respective classes. And it was so neat for them to just come together, being our oldest and our youngest, and how vast of an age difference that was. But how the community just flew up in arms with excitement and exhilaration at these two women who are on, such different ends of the spectrum in age, but how empowered they felt being on the exact same platform together. Was really cool. And then a fun experience of my own is a few years ago, and I'm actually going to be running this event. It's coming up in 2 weeks, the Arnold. USA Powerlifting is we're one of the staple competitions that gets invited back every year, and we absolutely love it. And I had the opportunity to compete on the platform a couple years ago, and I was coming out for my opening deadlift, and they stopped me, and I was like, "What? I'm dressed right. What's wrong with me?" And from the back of the room, here comes Arnold to the front of the platform and sits there for my opening attempt deadlift. It was like,
Oh my God.
I pick this up. He walks up and he Snapchats with me on his little Snapchat, and I get to say hi to his whole world of followers. So
Oh my gosh.
that was really fun, a really great experience. So we get to take our athletes to the Arnold too, and that's coming up in a couple weeks. So lots of fun things.
Oh, that's incredible. And so I know that you'll be humble in saying this, but to give people an idea for how much you lift, from a bench press squat, do you want to share some of your success stories?
Sure. So I normally have been competing at 114 pounds body weight.
Okay.
I have almost a 380 deadlift. It's in kilos, so it comes out to a little funny. Bench press is 175, and then my squat in the gym I've hit a 330. On the platform I've hit a 305. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I think people will be blown away by that. To give people some context, that's incredible. And so I know you mentioned the Arnold coming up, but how about for USA Powerlifting, or what are you most looking forward to this year?
I am super stoked for us going internationally. We've been working on building this part of our organization for a while now, and it's been a labor of love. It's hard to do things from the U.S. and expand into other countries, but it's been really neat to lock arms with other countries who love our brand, love the brand of USA Powerlifting, want to be a part of that. And so we've had the really cool opportunity of locking arms with multiple countries now and expanding and helping build a world team for USA Powerlifting, and we're heading that direction. So that's exciting for us.
That's awesome, and led me into my next question, which is, where do you see USA Powerlifting going in the next 5 to 10 years?
We're going to keep blowing it up. So we hit our 30,000 lifter mark this a couple years ago, and I'd love to see us hit 40. I can't envision why we wouldn't. The barbell movements in the sport in general are growing, and of course we talked about already having a low barrier of entry for USA Powerlifting. We're a drug-free organization, so we drug test our athletes, and we just want a fair and clean platform across the board, and that's exciting for people. And I just see people wanting to keep joining us.
That's awesome. And what advice would you give for someone looking to get into powerlifting, whether as an athlete or a coach or an event organizer?
Sure. So as an athlete, don't wait. Don't wait to hit a certain number before you step on the platform. This is contagious. Just do it. Just do it. Reach out to somebody in your state. You can Google, you can look up our state chairs, find a meet and get on the platform, because I promise you won't want to stop. Somebody who wants to be a meet director, you can always reach out to me. I'm willing to help anybody who's never run a meet before, but we have our state chairs in every state. You can reach out to them or reach out to me as the national meet director, and I'll help guide you in how to get that started and up and running. Coaching, it's not tough. Again, you could take our coaching course, and that's great because it helps you learn our rules better and what we're looking for. But the internet is so great. There's so many things out there that you can research and watch YouTube videos that, again, to coach athletes in powerlifting is also not very difficult. So there's a lot of ways to get involved. And of course, we're always here to answer questions because we love our sport and are passionate. So you can find us anytime.
Yeah. You can truly feel your passion through this video. You're pumping me up to get out and start back on my bench press. But so for my last question, what has been the biggest lesson you've learned in your role?
Which role?
Well, let's say, how about your biggest lesson in growing the sport of powerlifting?
Sure. Listening to our athletes, listening to what they want. I think it's easy to get into a role of what's easy for us as an organization, but it's really my heart to listen to what athletes want, what their experience that they want to have on the platform at the different levels, and let's try to make that happen. So working within a budget is hard because I want to give everybody being an enabling parent, I want to give you everything that you want, and that would be awesome. So trying to help build the platform for athletes within a budget has been tricky. Still trying to hone in on that because, budgets are hard. But that's pretty much it. I really want to listen to athletes, help their experience to be the best that it can at a national level event, and see if we can keep raising that standard.
That's awesome. Well, Heather, this has been such a pleasure getting to know you, getting to know more about USA Powerlifting and the sport of powerlifting in general. And so thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Of course. Yeah. And just for anyone who wants to get in touch with you, I know you are on Play Easy. There are some open RFPs right now, but is there any other best way to get in touch with you?
Sure. hfoss@usapowerlifting.com.
Awesome.
Is, the easiest way to get in touch with my email, but I'm on social media. You can find me on Instagram or Facebook too. I'm always love new friends, so I'm willing to chat anytime.
Awesome. Well, Heather, thanks so much for being here, and until next time, thanks everyone.
We'll see ya.